Before I start this video, I'm just gonna say this video is going to be a part 1 because holy crap, Code Red is really long. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I believe that Sir Uthington's series is extremely underrated. Personally, in my opinion, his series deserves a lot more attention than it actually gets. And since I really like his series, I decided that I am going to make this whole video going over this entire series of his. Now, before we start, he definitely did confirm that he is fine with other people talking about his series and going over it. So, let's get right into it. Jeez, Code Red is really long for a Piggy build mode series. Anyways, I guess we'll strap in for a really long book 1. Now, a very interesting part about Code Red is that most of the series, in most of the first few chapters, only the gameplay is actually in the video, and the story actually is explained in the description. Alright, so, chapter 1, let's do this. You wake up from that terrible dream, and to find everyone in the kitchen. They say you were asleep for oh, dang, 12 hours? Jeez, okay, that's a long time. It's okay. They haven't, started today's mission yet, since, they need your help for it. They need, the supplies from the nearby store, since you arrested someone there once. Huge story. They, want to, accompany them. You agree and set off. As you approach the store, you are still swarmed by infected and run through the car park entrance. I guess that's where the gameplay starts. You can't go back, so you'll get the supplies here and escape. You manage to get the supplies and escape the infected. You start to make your way back. You're right outside the safe house and try to open it, open the gate, but it doesn't budge. You try and try, but the gate is jammed. There is only one other way to get in, though through the nearby office building. As you enter, you have a strange feeling someone is watching you. You brush it off. Alright, so, in chapter 2, you burst through the doors of the office building and turn to your left and see the bunker entrance locked. I guess you have to unlock it. While you're trying to open the exit, you look at a computer that is mysteriously on. You look through what was on there, and it has documents on a secret lab being built in the mountain nearby. These are documents from 2019. It's 2021. You take a picture of the documents and carry on. You manage to open the exit and make your way into the bunker, but a weird feeling that someone is watching you still follows you. Something isn't right. Anyways, chapter 3, the bunker. You enter the bunker and close the door. No infected can get in. You get up to the staircase that leads into the safe house. The door is locked. You can't remember how to open the door, so you pop the tape and you found around and played it. The tape shows what is shown in the video. The old dusty video finishes. You find the right items to escape. The weird feeling that someone is following you has stopped, which puts you at ease. If only you knew what happens next. Now, for chapter 4, the most original chapter, you burst through the bunker doors and find Georgie and Giraffe holding a door closed. You run up to them and they explain that an infected got inside and got Mimi. You quickly start to open the gate outside. You open the gate and escape in one piece. You have to move locations. You suggest to head into the local museum, and they agree until you get kicked in the face and knocked out. You hear a voice, you fully black out saying, "Oh, he wasn't infected?" Holy crap! Chapter 5 story is so freaking long. Honestly, I'm gonna have to explain the storyline so, simply, a lot more simpler. So, first of all, the player wakes up in the museum, and the player is greeted by the person who knocked him out. And a few hours later, the player gets attacked by an infected, but the infected matter doesn't manage to do that much, so the player managed to escape onto the boat. While Giraffe is fending off the infected so you can escape, he yells, "Go, escape into the dark." So, the player arrives at the harbour, but then he gets attacked by another infected, but luckily the infected doesn't do very much, and the player calls for help. And after looking for some supplies, you find the exit and escape. But then the player passes out. The player wakes up in the theater thinking he heard Zizzy and Pony, but he met up with someone called Yeah Boy. Then, bang, a loud explosion goes off, and you get thrown to the ground just before you pass out again. Dang, he passes out a lot. And then, Yeah Boy says, "I'm sorry for what I did. I just hope you survive, memory or not." Claire ends up in some kind of distorted memory type place, and he is greeted by Yeah Boy. They try to escape, but they got captured. But then they managed to escape, but they ran into Mr. P. And after the exposition explains that Mr. P is bad, it is implied that the three had a chase with Mr. P and they managed to lose him. And then they decide to go in the library. Being surprised that Mr. P and his group didn't show up, they managed to get through the library. And after that, Yeah Boy explains that they need to get an item and they can find it in a bank. Anyways, they arrive at the bank and they go through the bank, finding a way to get to the vault. Anyways, they get to the vault and get what they need and escape. It turns out what they needed, to get is a key for somewhere, I guess. So they arrive at a lab, and it turns out they needed that key to get into it. But suddenly, some random explosion caused an avalanche, trapping them in the lab. And with Mr. P. So they go through the lab, evading Mr. P. They manage to escape, but Georgie is missing. But it turns out on the radio that Mr. P survived, and Georgie is with him. Mr. P gives them a choice. They either surrender or they confront him in a factory. So they go and confront Mr. P. So they arrive at the factory. After they look around the place, they find a pretty bad combination of gasoline and a lit match, which obviously it automatically sets the entire place on fire. Which this was very obviously a trap from Mr. P. So once they escape the place, it turns out the Yeah Boy knows where Mr. P is because Mr. P stole a freaking battleship. Anyways, before they get onto their ship, the player goes to get the white key that can access it. And then they start up the boat and head to where Mr. P is. And while they're going to the battleship, it is actually revealed that Pony actually gave Yeah Boy that radio. Despite not wanting to get spotted, they get spotted. Anyways, they get on the ship, and it turns out that Zizzy and Pony are on it, and they actually save Georgie from Mr. P. So then they decide to drive the battleship over to Mr. P's base. So, once they arrive, they talk about their plan for a bit and then head in. Anyways, once they get to Mr. P's base, they have a pretty big battle with him. And eventually, they won. They defeated Mr. P. And yes, of course, at the very end, they tease like a cure. So, that was Code Red. A pretty solid start to the series, despite the first half being kind of weird about, putting the story in the description for the first few chapters. And, the newer, chapters getting, even better. Like the, next few series, the next few seasons are gonna get even better. Now, because Code Red was so freaking long, I decided that I'm gonna make this a part 1, and I'm gonna make this as multiple parts, and I'm going to do the rest of the series. I might, do them in separate parts if if I'm able to, I might do the next two, books, in one episode. I don't really know. And once I do that, I'll make it into like one whole full video. So yeah, guys, bye.